and most of the time, I actually looked forward to my exams. But when I was a tutor, I realized this was not the norm, and that there were many more students out there who needed to be encouraged, engaged, and empowered in their learning. In fact, the data shows that in Australia, we are going backwards in our engagement and performance in STEM. So we are at our lowest levels in 20 years for STEM enrollments, and we are going backwards in terms of our STEM skills in absolute terms, not just compared to other countries. So when I surveyed some of these students, I found that when I asked them the question of what did they find to be their most effective way to study, the overwhelming majority voted for past paper practice as the #1 way. But when I asked them when did they start looking at these types of questions, most of them said only at the end of their learning journey. The solution is EduCats, EdTech software that allows students to practice past paper style questions to be more exam ready, delivered through a gameful way. It provides that encouragement, engagement, and empowerment through the concept of alternate reality gaming. This concept is about creating imagination layers to create games that benefit our real lives. So in terms of EduCats, the concept is I want students to imagine themselves as the hero to their own learning journey, and that the problems are the monsters in their way. It creates meaningful feedback loops that addresses learning difficulties at the point of confusion. So let's talk traction. So far I've created 2 working demos, and I've done customer interviews with 15 students and 5 teachers. All the teachers have been very positive and supportive, with this one teacher in particular saying, "Holy shit, dude, this is amazing." In terms of the students though, 87% felt positive after using the demos, and 80% said that they will continue using it if they could. In terms of the market size, this competes in the same space as supplementary learning or tutoring. So in Australia, this is estimated to be valued at $1.25 billion, and I compete with other EdTech software products such as MathSpace, Edrolo, Atomi, and many others, as well as traditional textbooks. However, EduCats is uniquely positioned to be focused on past paper style practice in that gameful format. So in terms of the business model, it's B2C, going directly to students and parents to avoid the long sales cycles with schools. It'll be freemium SaaS, software as a product, and there'll also be in-game avatar purchases available. So this is a similar business model to traditional games. So for example, the game Fortnite, free-to-play game, but they offer in-game purchases. And this has helped them be able to reach $2.4 billion in revenue in 2018. In terms of future offerings, I plan to offer B2B solutions to schools and tutoring companies in the future. In terms of the team, I'm a solo founder. I'm a tech-based, I'm a full-stack developer. I've tutored for many years, and I'm an EdTech enthusiast. And advising me is Vu Din, a high school teacher, as well as Kit Farley, who is on the board of the Sydney Angels. So in terms of my vision, we want to be at the forefront of a paradigm shift in online education, combining alternate reality gaming to encourage, engage, and empower students everywhere. So in terms of my ask, please connect with me. I left a link here. They'll redirect you to a feedback form. This is me. Please talk to me, as well as to be honest, this is my side gig, and I would love to talk about accelerators or investment and that type of thing. So cool. Thank you.
Woohoo! Well done. All right, we're handing back over to the judges. We'll start with Mark again.
Thanks. Hey, and Will, congrats. Love the pitch. Maybe a question on my end. I understand your kind of focus on B2C rather than the B2B angle. But in that environment, how are you thinking about getting the kind of almost exam content that sits behind, I imagine, the kind of gamified thing you've built, to the extent it is kind of linked to almost curriculum or something like that?
Yes, a good question. Content creation is a big piece of this product. And a lot of these questions are past paper inspired. So we provide those links to questions that have been similar to past paper type questions. And we kind of like map them to syllabus outcomes as well as to dot point knowledge. So in this way, we can kind of like provide coverage of like, you know, have you learned the full syllabus? Do you have enough knowledge in this area? And I guess like the vision in the future is to provide metrics of like maybe you're a little bit weaker in this area. We want to be able to, give you more questions and try to like test your knowledge there. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It'd be worth you checking out a really cool Aussie company called Wonde, W-O-N-D-E. They kind of act as an API layer into a bunch of the kind of school software systems as well. It might be an interesting play here. But yeah, makes sense.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah, my question's in a similar vein to Mark's. So you mentioned you want to target B2C first. What are you kind of thinking for go-to-market strategy?
Yeah, so content creation is a big piece. So I was thinking of being able to offer a lot of value for free. So there are a lot of online communities where a lot of students talk about exam preparation. Sometimes it's just about sharing memes. And a lot of these groups are on Facebook. They talk quite openly. There's also specific websites that focus on these communities. So my main goal was to create the content and be able to try to market through these kind of communities to try to like get them on the platform because it's freemium, and then just try to like show them the value, and if they find value out of it, they might purchase a subscription or purchase an avatar.
Great, thanks.
All right, and Ed, do you have a question?
Yeah, firstly, I think this is the platform for me because I'm a massive procrastinator, so this will work quite well, I think. I really like the concept. Like, I think education technology is a lot focused on self-directed learning, and the certified market is huge, and where most learning takes place still traditionally. I guess to that vein, would love to understand how you line yourselves up with the sort of major certification houses, whether that's A-levels or wherever that may sit. How do you think around lining yourselves up so that the syllabus and everything is aligned to that? And then to that sort of the second aspect of that question then comes, how far along that spectrum do you go? Do you go into the sort of full certifications as well, or do you see yourselves as being that sort of pre-exam, sort of the pre-exam prep space primarily?
Yeah, so a lot of the value does come from aligning to to syllabus outcomes and to learning outcomes that all teachers teach towards, as well as like tutoring agencies as well. So we definitely try to follow that same kind of model where it's like we start from those requirements, those guidelines, and every piece of content that I create and that we create is always mapped to those areas. So whether it's like by module, by topic, by dot point, by outcome. We do all that kind of mapping to all our content, but in terms of like direct certification, we haven't thought so much about direct certification just yet, but we definitely always are trying to align, to what's expected of the student, so that like what they're learning is relevant and will help them in an exam situation.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you, Will. That was a good presentation. All right.